Imagine that you've been doing UWorld questions at home. Maybe you're getting 60% or 70% and feeling like you finally got this. And then on test day, everything felt different. Maybe the questions just felt weird, like you couldn't focus. Maybe it felt like you were reading words, but they weren't sticking. That's the first sign that this is not a knowledge gap. Instead, it's your body remembering the last time you sat in that chair and panicking. A lot of times I'll hear people say, oh, I just need to have more willpower. Oh, I just need to like power through. No, the issue is that if you don't address this, it's gonna feel like the exam suddenly gets harder every single time when you step into that parametric center. The thing is that it didn't. Now, these might be the same physicians who walk into the test room confidently the first time that they take step 3. But once you failed, that nervous system fight or flight response will kick in way before the timer even starts. The reason I know this is that the physicians that we coach are typically in pretty high stakes situations. They're people that are on their final attempt. People who will have either a residency spot on the line where they'll be like, oh, well, if you can pass this test, then you can have this residency spot, or they are in residency and their program is basically telling them you have to pass this or you've got to repeat your year, or we might even kick you out. That's where you are right now. You're not alone, because this is the blocker that I would start with, because frankly, nothing else matters if you don't fix your nervous system hyperactivity that takes over on test day. There's so many stories that I have about people like this. We had a student who failed one of her steps, and then she retook it and she went in with like, I think something in like the 250s, and then she ended up failing it again, which is crazy, right? I've seen students who failed, one of their USMLEs, they'd gotten like to the 80s, which is like, of course you're gonna pass. It's like a 99.9% chance of passing, and then they failed. And not only did they fail, their line relative to where the passing line was, it was the exact same place that it was when they had failed previously, even though their NBMEs had improved dramatically in the interim. And what you'll find is those people who scored really, really high in their practice test, but then underperformed on test day, they describe it almost like the same way every time. They'll say, oh my God, the exam felt 10 times harder than UWorld or the NBME forms. Or they'll be like, oh my God, like the questions were so long, or, and it's that perception, right? That idea that the real exam was somehow fundamentally different from anything that they practiced before. That's just a manifestation of this blocker. Now, in fairness, if you yourself have felt that, it's not that you're crazy. It's not that the exam changed. It's that your nervous system is overreacting to it. And as a consequence, yeah, of course, the questions aren't going to make sense because you're not able to actually focus and process the information properly. Other manifestations of this, or having to reread the question, 2 or 3 times before it sinks in, having somatic symptoms. Like there was one student that I knew who, again, had failed his exam and then had gotten his score up to like 70s or 80s, and then he failed it again. And what he said is that like, I didn't feel nervous, but I do notice that in other times that people feel nervous, I get like a stomach ache. And in this case, I had a horrible stomach ache at the end of my exam. It's like, well, yeah. That's anxiety. Another is like if you blank on content that you knew cold, or your mind is racing where you're choosing between answer choices and you're like, oh my God, like I don't know, like how I should know this, right? And you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself. If this is true for you and you need to retake your step 3, the answer is not more UWorld. Adding content to a panicked brain does not reduce the panic. Instead, it just gives you more reasons that you might panic, because you're gonna have more things that you can know and potentially use to second guess yourself with, or it will give you more material, or it might even just make you think, oh my God, like I should know this, I just studied it, and cause even more panic. Instead, the fix is anxiety regulation work, right? So desensitization, structured exposure. We personally have seen a lot of people who have used EMDR therapy as an effective way of dealing with this. But whatever it is, the key is that you have to address it. Like first, diagnose the problem, and then second, like actually address that, and not just do more of what it is that you've already done in the past, which may or may not fix like the knowledge problems, but it definitely is not going to address the underlying anxiety. And we've worked with tons of students in this sort of situation. And one of the most reassuring things that they say when they come out of their exams that is a very good predictor of whether they're going to pass or not is, I felt calm. I knew that, the test was fair and I felt like I probably passed, but I also knew that even if I didn't, I was going to be okay. When people say that, again, there's no guarantees, but when people say that, I myself am like, yeah, that is a person who has a very good chance of passing. If you're a medical student or a doctor preparing for either the USMLEs or COMLEX or one of your medical board exams, then be sure to sign up for our free 14-step program where we'll walk you through the most efficient ways for you to improve your score in a short period of time. And if you're interested in getting there faster, be sure to book a free call with our team where we'll break down what it is that's holding you back, and if it makes sense, explain how it is that we can help you to get there more efficiently.